Thank you all for joining us for Youth Up Next Presents BMore Me Storytelling. Meet our lit guests. We want to start off by giving acknowledgments and shout outs to all the young people across Baltimore City that, despite the circumstances, having to adapt to distance learning, having to stay 6 feet apart from friends and family. You all kept your head straight. You all kept the mission forward, and you all still are succeeding in life and academics and purpose. So we want to give a shout out to you all, and we want to definitely give big shout outs to our 2020 graduates of Baltimore City Public Schools. Wait, let's get it. Y'all are a history making class. If not,
make some noise.
Definitely by history in itself. Give it up to you all. And right now, I want to make sure that we spotlight some of our amazing young people that is on the call today talking about BMore Me Storytelling, the work that they're doing. But even more excitingly, they're a part of this amazing class of 2020. Kevin, what's up, man? How you doing? Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you.
How's it going, man?
Going well. Can't complain.
Awesome. And how is life? How is life being a student, right? Going through right now, and how is it being a graduate? How you feeling, Kevin?
I'm excited. I got my little sad moments every now and then because we can't really graduate how we want to. Yeah, but I just have to deal with it. I'm more so happy that I have my diploma and I can do what I want now because there's so many job opportunities that I want that I can't have because I didn't have a high school diploma. But when I'm be out there and I'm not looking back.
Yeah, man, Kevin, awesome, man. You were exactly right. You accomplished something great and you out there and you ready to tackle on the world. I appreciate you. And we want to say, hey, Kevin, where you graduate from?
Renaissance Academy.
My God, congratulations. Let's give another round of applause for Kevin.
Yeah.
And we got some other graduates online as well. Amir, where are you, bro?
Right here.
Awesome. Amir, how's it been being a graduate of 2020?
Getting here, it's been stressful. Now that it's all over, it feels really good looking back, thinking about the fact that I had to actually learn and graduate through everything that's going on right now.
Got you, man. Hey, I respect the fact that you kept your fortitude, your perseverance, and resilience through it all. And we know how actively engaged you are as a young person, having the blessings to share the space with you. I even learned from you. I'm inspired by you, Kevin, and others. And we want to tap onto our young ladies, our Queen Temperance. Where you at, Temperance? And congratulations on being a graduate of 2020. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Hanging in there.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how does it feel just being a graduate? How does it feel just getting over that hump? And are you ready for the world?
It feels awesome. I feel like I can complete anything now, and I'm ready to take on the world.
Amazing.
That's lit. I'm glad to have y'all on here, man. And like D said, it's amazing. And I know we got some other young people from Youth as Resources. So I want to give acknowledgments to Youth as Resources as well for always being one of Baltimore's leading youth-led programs and organizations across the city, standing up for our young people, standing up for what you all believe in, and even more importantly, creating resources and funding to allow young people to lead from their seat. You are a pinnacle, you are a catalyst, and I respect that, and we admire you, and Baltimore respects all that you all are doing. So Tori, Canyon, Amir, Kevin, and I know Marcus wasn't able to join us, but I want to give acknowledgments to Marcus as well. And Julie, thank you all. Thank you as well for your great leadership, your support, your undenying respect and admiration and love that you have for our young people despite their stories, and most importantly, always showcasing their triumph and their greatness. So thank you all. You are tuned in with Youth as Resources. These young people are doing great work around Baltimore City, and we're going to dig into it, right? But BMore Me Storytelling, and we got another future guest today that's going to be a pinnacle part of our discussion. We got the one and only d.Watkins. D, how you feeling, brother? How's life?
I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here with you guys. My heart is always with the schools and inside the schools. And even though I was able to make some visits this year, I wanted to make way more. So I'm lucky and I'm thankful, and I'm blessed that you guys are including me. Thank you.
Awesome, 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 man. It's great to have us. I know it's going to be a great conversation. So without further ado, I want to go into where we are right now. D, you got this. I've been reading this book, right? And you published this book, and I've read it about twice times over, right? We speak for ourselves. And I remember coming in the office at UB, and you like, Lord Rashad, I'm working on this book. And you was dig deep into it. And you was telling me like, man, I got something, and they not gonna stop us this time from reaching the young people and us sharing our narratives. Tell us a little bit about We Speak for Ourselves. We know you had to cook up the B-side and tons of articles that has been well received. You're nationally acclaimed. You're a New York Times bestseller. You Baltimore in and out. You from the mud. You are this rose that grew from the concrete, man, and you're not afraid to talk about the thorns that came with the growth of this beautiful rose, right? So I wanted to just get your aspiration. Tell us about We Speak for Ourselves and why this is important and why it can be a launching pad for our young people and them extracting and telling their stories.
You know, thank you for all of that, and again, thank you for having me. And it's crazy that when I wrote the book, I didn't know that it would become so relevant right now, right? Like I didn't know it will be so needed right now, because one thing that I thought about when I was writing this book is I thought about all of the young people who were involved in the Baltimore uprising after Freddie Gray died. And what I was thinking about is I knew a lot of them students. Like when I used to work at Friendship Academy, when I used to, I still mentor a lot of those students, and I'm still in contact with a lot of them students. And a lot of them young people, you know, after all of these things happened in the city, a lot of them didn't really have a lot of resources and opportunities to do productive things with their lives. So it's like, while we seeing the protests and everybody's champion protests and everybody's champion, you know, whatever's going on in this city and that city, nobody's thinking about what do these people have to look forward to after all of this stuff is over. The smoke is going to clear. The businesses are going to get put back together. The cops are even going to go to jail, or they're going to continue being cops. After all of that stuff is said and done, after they stop talking about it 24 hours a day on every news station, our young people are going to be here. And what are we going to do? So when I wrote the book is it's a testament to the power of direct service. How can you help people? Help with a resume, help with a job, help to just be connected to some type of industry, whether it's music, film, whatever, but connections, things that people from the streets don't really have, things that I wish I had coming up that I try to do for other people. So the book it highlights the power of that, and it gives stories of some of the things that our young people have to face as we try to make it. And if we can learn them stories and acknowledge them stories and learn the good parts about where we come from, and work hard at trying to heal and mend some of the bad things that we have to carry with us through our existence, then we all can be better. That's what I tried to do, and I'm happy that a lot of people received it, and a lot of people like it, and a lot of people use it as a tool to be able to move forward, because that's what we need right now.
Hey, most certainly. I know myself, I went into the bag and read it even more. Like this weekend, as we're going through what we are going through, and me having to learn how to even be purposely connect or disconnect just to save my own sanity, my own clear consciousness, so that I can be the man that I need to be, but also the man to give back to the community. And I remember a few times throughout this book, you're very unapologetic. And I know we got some young people online as well that is very unapologetic about their voice and their stories and advocating for what they need. And you spoke of some of the times of how we take right now, there's uprisings happening across the country, right? And these media and news outlets come and try to just pick anyone, or they identify others that they already have within their network to speak on behalf of everyone. And what's the importance of you saying, I'm not a spokesperson for my community, I'm just speaking of my lived experience to raise everyone else awareness and consciousness in how to normalize everyday life. I think you've done that exceptionally well, to the point that you make every stepping stone seem significant and valuable, despite the ugliness and despite the beauty, but it all comes together to create this big picture.
I think the most powerful part of my own personal story is that I realized that I am not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I've made mistakes like everybody on this video call right now. Nobody's perfect. And a lot of times when we go through college, when we get our little jobs and our little careers and all that, we tend to look at the younger generation and we chastise them and we fuss at them. And we do it from a place of love because we don't want them to make the same mistakes. But we don't need to try to yell at them and try to downplay them. We need to tell them, look, I'm talking to you like this because I've been through this. I've done this. I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. Brilliant people learn from the mistakes of others. And I want to give you the opportunity to be brilliant. That's the kind of conversations we need to have. So, I declined some news interviews this weekend because I think that my role and my job is right now is to be supportive. Right now, it's a lot of commentary going on. I don't really think this is the time for all the extra commentary. I think right now we need to be figuring out how can we support the people that need our help and our love the most. And I'm not even like, I don't have any like negative feelings towards people who feel like they want to be the voice for whole groups of people, even though I don't agree with that. But I just feel like everybody on this phone has a right. Everybody on this call has a right to love their story and tell their story and talk about the things they learned from and talk about the mistakes they made and talk about, some of you guys graduated. That's a blessing. That's beautiful. You walking across that stage or being able to have that cap and gown is inspiring to other people who think they might not be able to make it through. My grandmother used to say, you might be the only Bible you understand that somebody ever read. You know what I mean? Not even to be on a religious tip, but at the end of the day, we need to be able to champion our own stories and we need to share them. And if we don't do that, then we give media the space to kill us straight up.
Yeah, so building off exactly where you left off at, right? You speak on this, and I'm curious to get our young people's and the youth that's on today's call insight and perspective of this. One of my favorite chapters from it, right? And it's a very short chapter, but it's powerful in itself, right? And it speaks about being, the title of this particular chapter is Too Poor for Pop Culture, right? And this is when you like turn the world upside down on its head, right? And you give us exactly what we already know. And that's the fact of all of, despite what we think is common for everyone, isn't common for everyday people, right? And you talk about now we're in this social world, we in this place of where our young people have to experience distant learning, and they're still held accountable. And most of the time, Black and brown youth are held accountable as adults, despite them being kids, right? And you speak of this as like, how can we be up on date on the trendy hashtags if I don't even have access to Wi-Fi, right? How can we expect our young people to be tapped in when we don't give them all the resources of that? And I'm curious to hear from our young people about that as well. But what made you want to just spotlight that portion of unconscious inequities that we always go through?
I heard my friends talking about a news story that was like almost a month old. It was like 2 weeks, but it felt like it was, when you on your smartphone, and it's crazy because at the time I had my iPhone was, I would just get on Wi-Fi at certain places. My money was funny. I had to Boost Mobile, but but my little iPhone had the Wi-Fi, so I would still like look and see what's popping on the internet and everything. So I was able to, if I'm in a coffee shop or something, I can keep up with what was going on. And a lot of people don't even know that they can go to the coffee shop and get on the Wi-Fi. I was sitting in a room with my good friend, people who was you understand, going off the information that was circulating through the community. So if nobody had access to these things, they wouldn't get it. Or if they did have access to Wi-Fi, they had to go down to the Pratt Library and they had to wait. You know what I mean? Or you can get on there for a half an hour, then you got to get off because somebody else want to get on there. So I wrote that story, and I think it expanded the perspective of a whole lot of people. I didn't know that many people was gonna there was two types of people. It was a group of people who felt like when the story made it to them, they felt like I was singing to them because that was their experience. And then it's another group of people who was like, oh man, I never thought about it like that. And the most beautiful thing about that whole experience is not only was I able to launch my career as a writer, but like it was at least like a good another 10 writers who wrote about that story, young Black people from different cities who was experiencing the same thing, and a lot of their careers got sparked too. So it was like a domino effect. It's like, oh, you know, these people that's coming out the street, they got voices, or they can write, or they put pen work in too, because people really don't think that. Like people really, 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 it blow their mind when they find out if you don't talk the way they think you should talk, or if you don't have like the background, you know, doctors as parents and all this and that. It blows your mind it blow their mind when they see what you have been able to accomplish with the things that you had. And I think that, you know, coming out of Baltimore City, we got to keep doing that. And then we put each other on, and we put each other on, and we put each other on, and then we have a whole nation.
I agree with you 100%, bro. And I love I love the fact of what you're sharing of how you intentionally use your words, your voice to weaponize and ready to just break down barriers and stereotypes and any common misperception. And I know our young people want, so I want to hear from our young people and specifically our graduates on this one question that I have for you all. You're in your senior year. You're almost through your second quarter. And this world of COVID-19 just hits you unexpectedly. And now you got to adapt immediately to an unknown world of uncertainty where no one has the answers for you. No one can give you immediate direction. How did that all feel with you all as matriculating and graduating as seniors? How did that experience hit you? When you first heard that school wouldn't reopen, you wouldn't be back in the classrooms, you all are being youth leaders in the community, in your schools, and everywhere else, even at your jobs. What was your first reaction to the news that your regular day in life has to shift?
I mean, my first reaction, I was kind of excited at first. I figured spring break was kind of a little early, but then soon after I realized it kept getting postponed and kept getting postponed, and more stuff started shutting down. I started getting worried. After a while, it took a minute, but it was very, very hard to adapt to the work being on the computer and having no teacher to guide us through the steps if we needed help or anything. And then you got to worry about a lot of different distractions coming to you at your house, knowing you're not in an environment where as though your family can't bother you while you're working. So now you got to learn how to stay focused and multitask, and you got to get the work done by a certain time. It was just a lot of chaos, but I think after a while, when you started getting the hang of everything started coming a little more smoother.
Got you. Thank you for sharing that. And I like how you shared that emotional journey of going back and forth, right? Being excited because it's new and it's like, all right, we can try something different. We ain't got to be in the same structure of a classroom setting where I'm sitting behind my peer. We got to raise our hands to answer our question or to go to the restroom. I get to now operate in my space, but only to learn that systems didn't have things in place for you to further your education in a most supportive way. So even thank you for sharing that as well. Do you got any of your other peers that just want to share insight on their experiences just being a student at this time?
I gotta say I agree with Tempest a lot. I know Marcus isn't on the call right now, but I know Marcus and I were both like really excited because we were like, hey, no school, we can hang out a little bit, you know, it's gonna be fun, nice little break from school. I know I personally was about to be a part of an in-person like presentation thing at school that I did not want to be a part of, and I ended up getting talked into it, and I didn't want to say no at that point. And I was like, oh, really like seriously looking for a way out, and I was very excited to find out that suddenly I had a way out. And so I was like, okay, this is cool. So like for the first time, I was like, okay, this is cool. Then it got extended. I was like, you know what? I can work with this. And I was still doing work in school and all that stuff. By about the third time that the whole thing got extended, I was beyond over it. I was also stressing myself out over schoolwork that I later found out was all extra credit schoolwork, and that they weren't like deducting points for not doing it. And then I find out that the fourth quarter work is also somehow suddenly extra credit work, and they're not deducting points for not doing it. And this is all stuff that the students, or at least I personally, did not find out until after I was done. So not only am I trying to push myself to learn and get work done on completely new formats that I've never used before, or if I have used them, it's been very limited. But I'm also finding out that I didn't have to stress myself half as difficultly, or like half as hard as I was. And so after it was all over, it just kind of felt like this was a lot more stress than it needed to be, you know?
Solid point. Solid point. Hey, with that, right? And I want to go from exactly that, right? Back to evaluating it, back to realizing that sometimes we put more pressure on you all as youth without being intentional or not understanding the whole I want to say gamut of what you have to balance in life, right? And you all have always stood up as young people. And I want to just give space for you all to just share the organization that you all are a part of, the vision, the mission of this organization. And we want to then transition into the great programming and opportunities that you all have led and created as young people, either from school police report card down to the Youth as Resources grants, and you are doing youth and adult-led workshops. You are implementing legislation to hold police accountable, and you all are doing police accountability classes to make sure that they know how to interact with you all as students and you all as youth peers. I want you all to just give life to that. Let's speak on that and what came about it, and how does that make you all feel to see that a lot of the work that you all are doing is actually working and is effective?
Okay. Should we start with what YAR is?
Yeah, go ahead. You could start from that.
You want me to do it or somebody else want to talk about it? I will. So YAR, do I look like what I'm looking at?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just look pixelated. Okay, so YAR is a youth-led organization. We are a grant-making, community organizing, and leadership development organization. We give grants to young people in Baltimore City to start and carry out projects that address critical community issues and have long-term change. With that, we have a board that runs the organization. We pretty much make all of the decisions, and we have an issue agenda, which is 5 things we work on outside of our grant cycles. We have 2 grant cycles a year. We are working on disability awareness, school climate, school police accountability, supporting efforts around youth homelessness and mental health. We just started working on mental health, and supporting efforts around youth homelessness. We work closely with YES organization.
Got it. And what made you all, as youth, what made you all identify those 5 things? Is that something that this common experience of young people in Baltimore City?
Okay, so I can tell you where our school police work started, and I can tell you about mental health, and supporting efforts around youth homelessness are 2 things that I really, really, really wanted on our issue agenda. And
why is that? Why did you see the importance and the value of that? Because I agree, it's very important, especially
I just see it a lot, and I just know it needs to be changed. So why not be the person to change it?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And what about the space of well, I want to stay real quick on you, and your peers can jump on as well. Tell us the importance of like mental health right now, and especially for young people and in our communities. Why do you see this as important, which we all in agreement to? And what would you want to see as better mental health? What are some solutions, some practices, some directions? What should we be talking about that we may not be talking about? And how should we better support young people around mental health?
That was a good question. Wait.
Yeah, that was a good question. I would like to add something on. I don't quite say this will be on the money, but a lot of people in the society nowadays don't realize how serious mental health is to students and staff and other people who don't got it, understand how hard it is to adapt and how to rearrange and how to understand how life works. People don't understand that people with mental health issues and everything need special attention, and they just throw it away and assume like, yeah, this person got mental issues, so they must be reclusive or something like that. But people don't understand like it's certain things behind it that they don't understand because it's real hard to explain. It's more like uh people don't see the efforts that they try to be normal. They're normal, but people don't see them as normal. So they have a hard time adapting to the community and the environment when everybody treats them like there's something strange.
Hey, you said it was hard to explain, but I think you explained it very well, right? I think you nailed it on the coffin. Like that thing is it. I think you nailed it completely and perfectly for all of us to understand, and that's why it's important for that voice, right? And I know you spoke of Tori, and was that Tempers or Kayan who was no, that was Tempers that was just speaking, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So Tempers, I know you just elevated a little bit on the mental health, and Tori, you spoke of like youth homeless, right? And a lot of times in our communities, we know how it connects, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just reading an article from D, and you talked about what was his name? Big Mook. What was his guy? And you talked about him coming out of prison and wanting not to fall into recidivism and needing another chance, and people not understanding how everything plays a part to why we can't go, right? So we have mental health and we have homelessness and we got the lack thereof because of prejudgments and records and things of that sort, how it all interconnects. Can you speak a little bit on that and then go and extract from where our young people at? I'm just curious to have how we all can show the world how this connects, even not even from young people, but as adults as well.
You know, I think a lot of times people who are in positions of privilege don't really acknowledge what other people have to go through. Like I hear people, so I'm at a point now where I'm in a lot of different circles when it comes to like business and things like that. And sometimes some of the things that I hear people say in these meetings, they just make me cringe. Like it's people in this world that really think that, you know, Black people from the city don't want to work. It was a congressman, used to be Speaker of the House and was Mitt Romney's vice president pick, Paul Ryan, who said, we have a serious problems in the cities. The Blacks don't want to work. And I was, you know, I flipped off my chair when I heard it because I'm like, man, Black people are the hardest working people I ever met in my life. Everybody I know has 30 jobs. Like everybody's working. Everybody's working all of the time. And for the people who, you know, we're lucky that Maryland's one of the ban-the-box states. But before then, people was coming home from jail and they was really, really, really trying to get their lives together and trying to get jobs. But as soon as they checked they've been convicted on the application, they wasn't getting the car back. They was being discriminated against. So you go to jail to be rehabilitated, but you never get, but so many people didn't get a chance to show, you know, what they actually learned and to be able to re-enter society in the way that was right. So that's they real issues. And the beauty of our students is that you guys know so much and you have access to so much and you are so far advanced, more advanced than I was when I was in high school, because when I was in high school, I wasn't even thinking, like, mental health was a joke. Like, it was a joke. Like, nobody took it serious. You know, you could be bipolar or schizophrenic and, you know, your teachers or your mom or your grandma or dad or whatever, they might say, you know, go drink some water and take a towel and it'll go away. And it's like, nah, these are real issues that are affecting society. So it's inspiring how you guys are responding to it and trying to build around that. But mental health and housing and technology and all of these things have played a part in prohibiting success of people who come from where we come from. And this is things that I'm happy that you guys are doing the work, and I'm out here trying to do the work, and hopefully we all realize that doing this type of work is going to be something that we're going to be engaged in for the rest of our lives, and we still won't see it completely change, but we're laying a beautiful foundation to make it easier for the next generation.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I want to go from where you left off, D, to go back to our young people of y'all. You talked about like the common denominator and how it all connects, right? And you talked about one of the most consistent things in the system has always been the institution of law enforcement. And Youth as Resources have created this school police report card, and now it's actually city schools legislative policy to administer this yearly report card. And I want our young people to speak on that. And I want that to connect. I want us to go in now to where we are in the real world and why things of holding these people that don't understand our everyday lived experiences accountable to how they should treat us as human beings, despite age, right? So Tori, Mari, Temperance, any of you all, can you all speak to what school police report card is, the vision of it, how it came about, and things of that sort? And we're going to deep dive into community policing and how it all connects to us, how you all are doing things as far as school police.
Anybody want to talk? You guys start talking again.
Would you mind repeating that really quickly?
Yeah, so I was speaking on, D spoke in his context of what he just shared, right, about giving us chances, fair chances of building, but more so of like the common denominator to a lot of barriers of us progressing or moving forward as people. Sometimes one of the biggest and constant barriers that stop us from being great is our interaction with law enforcement, right? And I wanted to speak on why you all created and understood the importance and value of a school police report card and what it does for our school climate, for student and police relationships, and what it does for you all as young people.
So the school police report card is pretty much a rating tool for school police. How we came about it was we do work around disability awareness, and we became aware that you were more likely to get arrested in schools if you were if you had a disability, and if you were like 10 times more likely to drop out if you got arrested in school. So we then created the school police report card, and it's just a way of grading school police so we understand how students feel.
And what have you all learned through this survey about how students feel? And D, you can jump in as well, bro, and just start if you want to ask them questions about that initiative in itself.
Yeah, I want to know, is that report card connected to their evaluations? Because if so, that's just amazing. That would be amazing. Like, if you're not performing the way you're supposed to be performing, then you're not gonna get that raise. So it gives you that incentive to be able to make sure you're doing your job in the right way.
And make sure that you have that student's best interest.
Okay. So how I look at it, because I've been with YAR for 5.5 years now, so that's enough time to really know. We talk to students like outside of just looking over the everything that we got from the school police report card. So with that, we got like ideas of giving school police training, like youth-led training, and we got that implemented into the school system. So school police are now required to get 5 hours of youth-led training, and we were the youth that trained them this time, and we did that in October, I believe. No, oh my gosh, that was a long time ago, October Actually, it was like a few months ago.
I was ready to say it was probably in March or something, right before the pandemic.
I
March?
believe it was February.
No, I think it was more like February.
You know what? We did it.
So, Amari, Ruben, how you all give us some insight on the school police report card? I sat in meetings with you all, and we went to the language to make sure that the young people understood it. You all standing up for yourselves to make sure that certain questions weren't taken away. You having to just share space with some adult professionals that just don't understand your mission and vision. How has that experience been, and how have you been able to like stay forward despite the ups and downs that come with collaboration with institutions and agencies when you know that you created something that's great and impactful?
It's good to not give up because it was a lot of times I never wanted to give up. I must say that right now. When everybody else was like, well, we should just stop trying because it's not working and stuff's not happening. And I just never. My bad.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That fortitude is what makes you a strong leader, right? And I want to go back to where we are. And you all talked about, and D asked the question, like, does it connect back to their evaluations, right? And D, you spoke to that in your books of how we can hold these officers and law enforcement accountable in the one glimpse of justice that you did experience in your time being on earth, right? Can you speak to that, or what those small, although we got a bigger picture and we know it's going to be a global impact, but those small victories, how to always bring up and highlight those small victories because they are large accomplishments in itself?
You know, there's small victories here and there. I feel like we also personally have to identify, you know, what those victories are. I think are you speaking to the moment when the cops who charged Freddie Gray was arrested, and how that felt like justice, but it wasn't, because they all got their jobs and they all got back pay, and they even like sued the city and got some extra money.
Yes.
And
then we speed up 5 years from later. We thought we were going to possibly get some indictments from the murder of George Floyd, to only come out and the medical examiner says that the strangulation wasn't his cause of death, right? It's like we get these one things and then the system itself plays on again. Like, let's speak to where we are currently now. Like, how we all feel.
I feel like, you know, and I think mentors, I think this is a good time for mentors, people who work with young people, teachers in general. I think this is just a good time for us to tell young people that if you want to change the system, you need to run for office, and you need to be the teacher, and you need to be the principal, and you need to be the prosecutor. You need to be the judge. You need to be the person who makes these decisions, because apparently the people from, you know, the previous generation who has the opportunity to make these decisions, they just aren't making them. This is a beautiful time to tell our young people that if we really, really, really want to see the system flip, then go to college and get them law degrees and start them businesses and be those people that are letting you down right now. This should be all motivation. I'm working extremely hard still to put myself in a position to be a person who can grant book deals, who can who can greenlight TV shows, who can create opportunities that I'm fighting for right now. That's the victory. You know, we can do that, then we're not gonna have to protest a cop killing somebody, because that cop who killed somebody is gonna be fired. He's gonna be locked up until his trial. He's gonna be found guilty if he do a jury trial or a bench trial. And every cop around him is not gonna try to do the same thing, because they see that, you know, that they've been held accountable. And a couple of cops went to jail. The cop who killed Walter Scott, Michael Slager, he went to jail, and I don't know how much time he's gonna do. He got like 20. He should have got 60 years. He got 20 years. The police officers who've been robbing people and putting drugs on people in the gun trace task force, they got from a range of between like 5 to like 25 years. And I think they should have got more time based on some of the crimes they committed, especially stealing from the city. But I think that the real goal and what we should be doing is we should be looking at the people in these systems that fail us, and we should be studying what they do, and we should be taking their jobs, and we should be making change that way as well.
Hey, I thank you for sharing that sentiment and giving some reflection, even to give our young people some suggestions of how to move forward with their future life to make the world better for them to live in the future, their children and family, right? I want to stay on that, and I'm curious to hear our young people of how you all feeling right now. This is just a check-in, right? How are you all feeling being under us experiencing what we're experiencing?
I don't know about everybody else. Personally, I feel both empowered that people are actually starting to take notice and starting to look and see what's going on. But at the same time, I also feel like I'm not doing enough personally. I really want to attend like a lot of these protests and like stand with everybody that is protesting right now. I want to be able to do all that stuff. Personally, I'm not able to. You know what I mean? So I feel both accomplished and like I'm not doing enough. Like I could be doing a lot more.
Hey, I agree with you. I'm in that same space. Go ahead, D.
Can I respond to that? Is that Amir?
Yeah.
It's crazy. When I went to my first protest some years back, and I thought that that was going to be the change that I was really, really looking for. I thought I was going to be a part of something that was going to lead to change, and I didn't necessarily get the results that I wanted. Some people at the protest, were looking to like take pictures and hang out. Some people at the protest didn't have anything else to do. Some people at the protest were snooping and being nosy, and what they were doing wasn't my business. I just wanted to stand with people, but I felt like I was more effective when I started mentoring and working with young people on an individual basis, when I started connecting with people from my neighborhood and helping them adjust and get jobs and get into college and things like that. I felt like I was doing something more, because a protest is maybe one day, maybe 1 week, maybe even a month if you really can hang. And then you go back to living your life, whereas helping create an opportunity for somebody else could potentially last a lifetime. And then if they do the same thing for somebody else that you tried to do for them, it makes it that much better. So even though sometimes I want to be with my people and stand with my people too, sometimes it's, a lot of times I just feel like I'm more effective if I'm doing the things that are creating opportunities that last, versus doing something in a moment that looks good and feels good and that will get me some clicks on Instagram. You ain't gonna get no clicks from Instagram from taking somebody to motor vehicles and helping them get a license, or taking them down to Mr. Cleve so they can get their CDL, or taking them, you know what I'm saying, like the community college or the college, and trying to get them in there and then helping them with their essays and their algebra and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not the pretty stuff. Everybody looks cool when they doing they fist like this in front of a camera, and then like you getting, and the lights are behind you and people are hailing you like you this revolutionary warrior. But the real work is when a crowd clears up. What are you going to do once everybody leaves the protest? Who you going to look out for? Who you going to try to put on for? What you going to try to do to make the world a better place? That's where the real work come in at. So I don't think you should beat yourself up about not being there. I think you should, if you got that love in your heart and you want to help, then you have to figure out how to try to lift as you climb. You elevate yourself and you try to elevate other people too. That's a win. That's a quantifiable goal.
I think in your book, I don't know if you coined the term, but didn't you call it as skill sharing?
Yeah, I never coined it, but yeah, skill sharing. Like, if books is your thing and you share that, or if financial, fitness is your thing. I don't know. I don't really go to gyms, but like if fitness is your thing and you can teach, my homie Tony teaching people how to get ab muscles and all that, that's his thing. what Erica Bridgeford's doing with Ceasefire, you know, and just going around the city and injecting love into different spaces. Whatever your vibe is, get really, really good at it, and then help some other people come up. And that's how we change the world. Like that's you know. So even though I'm not against protests, I feel like it's only a part of the solution, and it's actually a small part. It's not the real part.
Okay.
Awesome, Matt. Awesome. And I want to go where you were, right? And we in this space today. Let's speak about the most hated cop in me article, right? Oh. What made you want to write this, and when it went viral, how did it make you feel, and how did this attest to like right now? It's like certain writers, certain rappers, certain lyricists and everything, their work is just timeless. And I feel like this piece, along with a few other pieces that you wrote, is just a timeless one.
Articles are funny. Thank you for one. But articles are funny because they go viral in different communities. And it shows you how segregated people and their friend groups are. People share articles because it gives them social currency. Like people will say, "Hey, did you see that movie? Hey, did you read that article?" Because it makes them look like they're connected and they're smart and they're smooth and they know things, right? So articles have been like a really, really, really big piece of social currency once the mass sharing elements came out. Email lists, social media, text messages, and things like that. As soon as those things blew up, articles blew up and more articles were being shared. And the funny thing about that article is, so I wrote an article about gun control and it went viral amongst conservatives. All of the conservatives who read the article, a lot of them were sending death threats like, "I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill D.Watkins, I'm gonna kill his family, I'm gonna shoot you in the head." Like they were sending me pictures of dead black people. They took a picture of my house, the house I used to own, and they put it on the internet and it went viral in that community. When I wrote Too Poor for Pop Culture, it went viral in the Baltimore area around the city. So like everybody, like people who don't even really read articles like that was reading that article. And I don't know why, but it spread through schools like crazy and it spread through the streets, even though like the whole article was about how a lot of people from the neighborhood don't get to see articles. So that was like a crazy thing. A lot of students took the article and they took it to their parents and they was like, "Yo, you know him?" And they was like, "Oh yeah, I know him." You know, like, you know, "Oh yeah, like I got all types of crazy stories. Like my father said he fought you. Or my father said y'all played basketball together. You a hawk." Like I got all these little crazy stories from students. Now this article about this cop is funny because it went viral amongst people who work in television. So a lot of people who work in television have been hitting me up like, "Yo, can I buy the options? Can I buy the options? Can I buy the rights? Can I buy the rights?" And those conversations sound good and it feels good, but I always tend to just like wait it out a little bit and see what happens, because people, they like to buy your essays or they like to buy the rights to your book just so they can not make it, because they might be working on something similar and they feel like they want to kill your project so to make sure it don't take no steam away from the stuff that they already put money into. But writing that article was fun for me because I normally don't get time to work on the article. So normally my editor, she might hit me up at like 10 o'clock in the morning. "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. I'm eating some graham crackers." And she's like, "All right, cool. I need something on this situation by noon," right? And it's like 10 o'clock. So I got 2 hours to crank out 1,500 words. With this article, they was like, "Yo, we want you to take your time." I said, "All right, bet what you need, a week?" They like, no, send it to me in like 8 months. So I got a chance to work on it for 8 months. And when I came back 8 months later, the dude who assigned the article to me quit. And I had another editor, and she's like, "Take another 4 months. I'm busy." And then I took another 4 months and then I submitted it. And she was like, "Wow, like, who are you again?" And mind you, all of the stuff that I done didn't mean nothing to this lady because I wasn't a part of her world. But now I'm like, now she hit me up. Now she hit me up like we friends or something, you know, because the article did so good for their website and it circulated through them things. But I think if anybody on this phone call, if y'all get to read the article, what I want y'all to take from it is this: the war on drugs is toxic and poison as the actual drug that is supposed to be fighting against. You can be a part of the war on drugs just by living in a neighborhood where people sell drugs. Living in a neighborhood where people sell drugs makes you a part of that war, and you have to act and plan accordingly. You have to understand, or you have to know your rights. You have to know how to get around that, and you have to know how to fight. And you have to understand that there are still people who are on the other side of the war on drugs who can target you, and you got to be ready for them. In the article, there's a cop who utilized the war on drugs to make money himself, to punish other people, to put innocent people in jail, to hurt people, and government policy allowed that to happen. And I want people to take that away from it.
Hey, thank you for sharing that as well, and I like where you went. I want to open this time up for our young people to just share some insight, right? What do you all would like to share personally of how you're just speaking? Would like to just share personally, or some things that y'all is working on as we close out on our last few minutes. I want to give this time to you all. We're going to close out with you all just sharing whatever you feeling, the things that you're working on. What would you like to see if the school year opens back up and we have to continue distance learning? How do we better support you all? How does the community better support you all and make sure that you're safe, that you feel loved, and that you have the resources that's needed? Give us some insight on how you're feeling and what we should do, or yourself personally. Now you all are graduates. Where you at from 5 years from now? Tempers, where you at 5 years now from Mari? Where you 5 years from now, Kevin? Those things. Or Tori, like, tell us something. Give us.
I'm sorry, that question was for everybody.
Yeah, it's an open court. Everybody got the ball in their hands. We just want to hear from you.
You said we'll
just have a conversation.
5 years from now?
Yes.
I say 5 years from now, I'll probably be making millions of money, making millions of dollars for my artwork.
Okay, and what type of artwork?
I do painting, sketches. There's nothing I can't name that I don't do. I craft, sculpt, a lot of stuff.
Hey, that's beautiful. We gotta get you on Wednesdays for Youth Voice Amplified so you can showcase some of your artwork, and we just give you another platform as well. But that's interesting. That's amazing. I'm a second generation art collector, so I love the idea of art and what the importance of art is in our communities. Let's hear from somebody else. Where we at 5 years from now? How you feeling about now, or your recommendations of how we can support young people in and out of school moving forward?
One thing I want to just say that might have been glossed over. D, he dropping so many jewels. One jewel he dropped, I want you, if you're a writer or you have some talent, listen to what he said. He said, people may buy the rights to what you have so they don't produce it. So just wait it out. Don't take that first option that comes across the table. Hold back, hold check. Be cool with it. Read all that's coming out and see what option is best to make your best move. Don't make the first move, make your best move. See everything that's laid out in front of you.
I like
that. They'll play with you. They'll play with you for sure.
So with that, D, like, right, we're gonna stay right there. Was that a part where like you learned through experience, or did like a mentor or someone give you a heads up to that game of like waiting for the right moment?
So my agent basically told me, my agent put me down. She was trying to sell it because she wanted to make money, but she also was like, this is like an agent that I don't work with no more. But she also was basically, in her language was, she supposed to be representing me, but she felt like I should be lucky that somebody want to buy something that I made anyway. And you're supposed to be representing me. And I just read between the lines and just watch what everybody say. And I know, I work really, really hard. Like I work hard. And when you work hard at something, you deserve to get what you're supposed to get, especially when you got good intentions and your heart is in the right place. So I learned by listening to her, and this is like a lesson that I hope some of y'all can take away too. Just because a person is saying some things that you don't want to hear, it doesn't mean that there aren't lessons buried in there. There's lessons buried in the language and actions of the people who you don't want to hear. So sometimes somebody might be saying something that you don't want to hear, especially in the art world, in the business world, and listen and take from it and take your little notes and understand what they're trying to do and their intentions and what you need, and hold on to that, because that might be the lesson that saves your life. You know, being upset and frustrated with this lady saved my life. And, you know, now I'm in a better position to do things that I want to work on because I just paid attention.
Hey, that's powerful. Hey, I want to give it back space for the young people as well. We're about to close out in the next few minutes. So I wanted you all to give space. You all are very uplifting. You all are very innovative. You all are unapologetic youth leaders, and that's what I respect most about you all, under the tutelage and the support and the advice and the guidance of Julia and all the other adult partners that you may be in shared space with. I wanted to see if you all have some encouraging or some words or insights that you want to share with your peers. I know some of our Baltimore youth right now in the downtown being a part of the protests and the protests that are going on and the rallies that's going on and being led by Baltimore Block. So any encouraging words, insights, and things that you want to share with your own peers? I want to give space for you all to just give a message out to the world.
I would like to let any peers or anyone around my age group that's currently trying to like make the world a better place that's listening to this, there are times where it's going to seem like it's impossible and like you're not making any change, but don't stop trying to do what you're trying to do, because it will, if you try hard enough, you will wind up succeeding. It may not happen immediately, but it'll happen eventually.
Powerful in itself. I will give space for any of your other peers that may want to share. And D, I want you to answer this one out as well, right? I know you and I spoke before, and you wanted to just share some sentiments about what you learned in the past and what our young people can do moving forward, and what we can do all together as a community to move forward.
Kevin would like for you to read his comment he sent you.
Got you.
I would like to say something too. This Nick, I'm on Julie and on her computer.
Okay, got it. So Kevin, I'm gonna speak. Nick, I want you to speak as well. But before you go, Nick, I'm gonna read Kevin's. So Kevin is one of our young people representing Youth as Resources, a current graduate of class 2020. Go ahead, Kevin. Shout out again. Kevin says 5 years from now, he want to be the hottest entrepreneur in the game, having multiple businesses, falling in the lines of photography and fashion. I'm going to school for carpentry to help bring in the big bucks. Long story short, I want to be wealthy, well-respected Black man. Drop the mic, Kevin. Thank you for sharing that, bro, and how you built
Shout
that
out to Kevin. That's what's up.
into fruition. You put it out there, you wrote it down. I see it manifesting itself quicker than you can even imagine, right? So thank you, man. And you are already a well-respected young Black man. And like, wealth is not just physical money or monetarily either. Wealth is just, you can be wealthy of respecthood. You can be wealthy of resources, of networks, of information as well. But continue on your mission as we see it all coming true. And Nick, I wanted to give this spot for you, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to say for any upcoming classes, I would like to say capitalize on every moment, because anything could be taken from you at any given second. Be grateful, thankful, and just stay humble and stay focused.
Powerful, bro. Thank you for sharing that, Nick, as well. That's very insightful, man. Thank you for being that leader and just giving those words.
No problem.
I got you, Kevin. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You on the same wave. Hey, D, take us out, bro. What you want to say to the world, to the young people?
I want to say that, I'm so proud of y'all, and, I hope and pray that you guys are reading and studying every day. If you read every day, that's how you're going to be able to have the brain power to accomplish everything you want. I don't care if it's magazines, I don't care if it's articles, I don't care if it's books bigger than the Bible. Just try to read something every day. Read something every day, and your life will change. It changed my life, and I know it can change yours too. And thank you guys for having me. I love all of y'all, wishing y'all the best, and look forward to seeing y'all shine.
Hey, shine is again. Thank you all. This was a beautiful conversation, a much needed conversation where we want to give platform to our young people and others just to share their stories, tell their narratives, protect the culture, build the community. Again, you all have just tuned into Youth Up Next Presents, a collaboration between Youth Up Next and BMore Me, led by City Schools. You all have heard from the great D.Watkins, and you all have heard from our great minds and youth leaders across Baltimore City from Youth as Resources. Again, thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to having you all tell a friend to join us on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 5 to 6 p.m. This Wednesday, we're going to hear from the young people of Media Rhythm Institute, who will be hosting Channel Me Media Podcast. They'll be hosting and interviewing some of Baltimore's leading artists, musicians, and producers, as well as some young people that will be performing as well and be doing interviews afterwards. On Friday, we got Kondwani Fidel, who's going to be speaking on Hummingbirds in the Trenches and his new poetry EP, The Mud Was Made For Us. I was listening to that today. Fire. It's on all streaming platforms. Shout out to Baltimore from leading the way, from continue to lead in art and leading in voice and purpose. Y'all, thank you all again. You all have just checked into Youth Up Next Presents. Thank you all. Stay blessed. Continue on. And remember that you are just not up now, but you're not just up now. You're also up next. And you can be more to yourself by just being more. Continue on, continue forward, continue being great. You know that you have us in your corner. Stay blessed, stay safe, and let's continue to move forward, y'all. Be more.